Hello, and welcome to the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, please go and leave a 5-star review. For example, this review from Brune Hannah. Subject of the reviews: Chrissie makes me lol. A fun and funny show that keeps me coming back for more. Oh, thanks, Brune Hannah. See, was that so hard? Thank you so much for the reviews. The election is over, but you know what doesn't have to be over? Your erection. Very excited to let you all know this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. They are the best in below the waist trimming with precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They are based here in the US, but they just launched in the UK. So now all my British friends can get in on this deal. You know what I really love about them is their products really help to avoid like nicks and bumps and scratches. It's just like, I know most men don't think of like products in general for themselves because people are like, oh, that's gay. But like, I think the one area you really do need to invest in some products for is your junk, is your dick and balls. You know, it's worth it. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes, you know, you'll have sex after you accidentally nick your nuts after shaving. It's happened to guys I know. It's super freaking painful. And I just had Frank try the new lawnmower tool from Manscaped, and it worked. First of all, it worked really well. Way less nicks, probably none. And it made his dick look bigger. So it's like win-win. The battery lasts up to 90 minutes, and it comes with a really great recharging station. It's legit. It's waterproof. It has a cutting-edge ceramic blade and will reduce any awkward grooming accidents. If you're a dude, give this a try. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code CMP to get 20% off plus free shipping. Ladies, you know what I'm going to say next. Get this for your man. Christmas is coming, and so should both of you. Get that stocking stuffed. Go to manscaped.com, promo code CMP. Get your 20% off plus free shipping. I'm also very excited to tell you guys about Cushy Dreams. Cushy Dreams offers a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, aka the bud, in cans, and also pre-rolled CBD joints. It helped me so much with my anxiety. I tried the Hustle and the Create, and it's really great. Like, they'll have different strands that are like either more sativa, more indica, depending on what you want to do. If you need like a boost or if you need to calm down. I know it really helped me so much with my anxiety. Like, I just get very ADD, and I have an Adderall prescription, but I don't like to take it because sometimes I'll get crazy headaches, or sometimes I'll get like really dehydrated. And like, people who take Adderall know there's like a come down. Not to make that sound dirty, but that's what I really love about Cushy Dreams. It's like, it just calms you down from head to toe, and it without getting high. There's under 0.3% THC, so you don't get high. You don't feel like kooky, you know. It's cannabis that ships directly to you. It's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies who want to smoke their CBD. Cushy Dreams, smoke your CBD. Looks, feels, and tastes just like high quality marijuana, but it's not. It's just CBD. They take the artisan approach. Every batch is small. It's 100% hand trimmed. It's never machine trimmed. They do plenty of independent lab tests to, you know, stay up on their compliance and purity, and that's all posted on their website. Cushy Dreams, grown here in the USA, probably the most important part. Go to cushydreams.com, check out Energy, Hustle, Relax, and Dream, all these different blends. Use the promo code CMP for 20% off every single order, not just your first order. And I believe they also have free shipping as well. So go to Cushy Dreams, KUSHY dreams.com. Use the promo code CMP. I'm so excited to have this gal on the podcast today. She has been nominated and won so many different awards for AVN, XBIZ, PornHub. She writes for the Federalist. She's an adult film star, a Fleshlight Girl, a MILF queen. She, at one point, maybe still is, the number 6 most searched on PornHub. She's the author of a book, Getting Wild Sex from Your Conservative Woman, and so many more wonderful credits. It's Brandi Love. How are you?
I'm doing great. So nice to be here. Such a pleasure.
Such a pleasure to be here. Such not a pleasure to be on Twitter these days.
No, it fucking sucks. No doubt about that.
No, it really does. And you know, like I've noticed I really enjoy you on Twitter, and I've been like going through your feed, and like a lot of the similar comments that you have are similar to mine, because like, and I just wanted to know how you feel, because I wonder if it's the same as I do. It's like we're coming off of like, and I wasn't really a Trump fan until probably the last like 8 months. I sort of like woke up and realized like the insane amount of corruption and lies and stuff, and just realizing kind of truths about the world that I hadn't before. But I can only imagine, I don't know if you have been, you know, a fan of Trump for a few years, but anyway, like, you know, the people on the right or conservatives or whatever, we're coming off of 4 years of being told that we're horrible people. All of us are racist. All of us are white supremacists. And now we have, for the time being, Biden and Harris winning. And I'm seeing so much of liberal Twitter telling, you know, kind of, you're way more high profile than I am, but like we both have fans and followings, telling people such as, you know, yourself and myself, like, well, we need to, you know, it's either two things. It's like, your boy lost, you suck, go fuck yourself. Or it's like, we need to come together. You know, now we have to, it's about unity now. And that kind of pisses me off, because I feel like we've been hearing for years what terrible people we are. And now,
Well, there's only unity if we agree with them, which to me is communism. And I'm not a huge fan. So that's not going to work for me, number one. Number two, I've been a fan of Trump since he started running, because I'm sick of politicians. Joe Biden's been a politician for 47 years. And you know what one job he created? For his corrupt son, Hunter. And you know what? You can call me whatever name you want, but the facts are the facts. And if your poor ass little baby mind can't handle the truth, that's not my problem. It's just not. The problem with Twitter is nothing I have to share with you. You know, over 75% is liberal. The entire media, and sadly, even Fox News, is liberal. So anybody who wants the truth has to be willing to dig way farther than the propaganda that they're spewing out of your TV, out of your radio, out of your phone, out of Twitter, out of Facebook. When people start shutting down links, closing profiles for saying things they don't like, the sad truth is that our country's been gone for a long time because our education system has failed. People don't know our history. They don't understand the Constitution. They don't know what free speech means. They've bought into this concept that they're okay with. And you know what? What are we supposed to do? We're so divided at this point that on Tuesday, I feel like I watched and witnessed the death of our country. Happens to be a country that I love. So people can fucking laugh at me and call me names and say Biden won. First of all, no, he hasn't. As long as I've been alive, the media doesn't determine,
is
right?
telling us that they
right.
won.
So there is no winner, and there won't be until the Supreme Court decides, right? And at that point, I'll be honest with you, I'll puke in my own mouth as I say it, but I will say congratulations if the courts decide that's the way it goes. I'm not going to like it, but unlike them, I'm not going to burn, loot, destroy, and hurt innocent people. It's just one of the differences. So, you know, we're living in such a unfortunate and tumultuous and non-unified place right now that, man, I don't know about you, but I'm just trying to get by.
Absolutely. And I think it just speaks to like the left's sort of tunnel vision, is that they can now just be like, okay, let's all hold hands. And it's like, are you out of your fucking minds? Like, just because you're now okay with things means everything's okay. You know what I mean? Like, or when you had I don't know. It's just like, there's no eloquent way I can put this. Like every tweet I read, like, I think it was like Buttigieg. I can't even say his name. Buttigieg. And I think maybe you either responded to it, but that's how I saw it, because I was like, oh my God, this is so true. And it was like this tweet. It was like so disgusting. He was like, you know, today's a good day to reach out to, if you know somebody in your life who voted for the other side, you know, if you like love and care about them, reach out to them today and talk to them, not about politics, but remind yourself and them why you love and care about each other. It's like this whole like saccharine hand-holding bullshit. And I'm like, I think I actually responded, I'm like, Pete, like for the last 4 years, like everybody on the left has been telling me and you to get rid of and write off all these people. You know, we're supposed to not talk to our mom and dad who are Trump supporters. We're supposed to like unfriend and not text family members and friends back because of their political feelings. Oh, now we have to like suddenly make nice. Like lots of people have genuinely written off friends and family members over this stuff, and they make it sound like, okay, well that just doesn't count now. Oh, now we can go back to being friends because we won.
The reality is, and you may agree, you may not agree. Your listeners may agree, they may not agree, but the left is who created the division for the sole purpose of taking ownership, not earning it, not winning it, not doing the American thing, which is a constitutional republic where we get to vote, we the people. They created the racism, they created the looting, they created the burning, they created don't call your parents if they're for Trump. They created the most abhorrent and hateful and hurtful thing I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. And it was all to undermine our Constitution. And the sickest part is, it feels like it's working. I know you're feeling it. We know it's there. I'm holding out hope. We don't know, because I still believe that it's going to go to the courts. There's so much proof. And the thing that's so weird to me is when the left is partying, you're celebrating a cheater.
Yeah.
Again, if this had been done properly, here's what's weird. How are we in 2020 and we can't get our votes counted like we did 40 years ago?
Yeah. Why are we technologically supposedly the most advanced we've ever been, yet we can't get our shit together for an election? Like
American Idol can take 130 million votes and give us an answer in a night, and we can't. I mean, seriously.
So yeah.
So I didn't come up with that. I read that and I went,
no, that's a really good example.
God. So really, how good is technology? It kind of feels to me like it's being used against us. Well, and those who have the power are going to turn it into whatever they want. Really, it's a monster.
Some folks have looked into like who created these ballot machines, like who created the machines in which our votes are counted on, and it's like, not surprisingly, like Democrat-owned companies.
It's the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, and there's all these software glitches that delete, or that swap. I think it was in Michigan, they swapped at least 3,000 votes that were supposed to be for Trump. Oopsie, swapped them to Biden. Oh my God. And, you wonder if any of these oopsie glitches happened in Trump's favor. Probably not.
They're not oopsies, and the video is available, but unfortunately Twitter and Facebook have removed all of the video showing the proof of who paid for said glitchy machines and who is behind the software that created the glitches. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This shit's out there. Yeah. You just gotta look, you know?
And then the left will say, oh, there's no proof, after they've censored and silenced anybody who is bringing proof to the table.
So I'm just preaching to the choir. You get it.
We're just here jerking each other off. Yes,
it's a circle jerk.
No, it feels good sometimes, because it's like, there's lots of people. It's hard to like begin to explain to somebody, which is great if you're talking to somebody who wants to hear it, but unfortunately it seems like everybody on the left like doesn't want to hear it, and like it seems like we are living in two separate realities, and it's like, well, how do we come together when there's people who are acknowledging reality and people who celebrate a stolen election?
Well, it's a really great question, and I don't know the answer, and I'll go back to something that I wrote on my blog 2 years ago, is that I'm pretty sure that we're eternally divided, and that the only way that this country could potentially heal would be a civil war. And that's fucked up. And I'm not afraid to say it. I wrote it 2 years ago. And that was way before I knew the depth of the depravity, way before I realized that, just like the Civil War, it says son turns against dad, dad against, mom against daughter. It's like, holy shit, we're repeating history. You know how you repeat history? By not teaching it.
Right.
And here we are,
for
and
sure
people are surprised.
And I don't have like specific examples, so it's, but then again, this is a freaking comedy podcast, so if you're looking for specific examples, go elsewhere. But it's like, even my own sister who's a teacher, like I've seen and heard of many examples where they either just like that there are like lefty liberal, like they'll, companies that own the textbooks, and they have over a period of years like really been taking chunks out of textbooks, kind of really rewriting history, either not teaching certain things or just straight up changing them. And it's like we don't need to be teaching third graders about like I don't know, like Black Lives Matter. I just feel like it's from what I hear from people who have kids.
That's a really good topic for babies. That's an awesome topic. And you just said the truth. And this is, it's our fault. It's communal. It's everyone's fault that the education system was taken over by socialists, because the easiest way to get to where we are today is through slow and steady psychological indoctrination. Nowadays schools are teaching children to hate their own parents because of white privilege.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, so, okay, you and I sit here and we're aware, but I'm thinking the only guilt I feel is the fact that we've allowed this, that it has gotten so bad that, we're in the situation that we're in. You can't really blame people that for 20 years have been psychologically conditioned to believe something, right?
Yeah.
No matter what truth I show you, it's a lie. And they go, right. I don't believe you. I don't care that it's there. It's fake news.
Right.
No. It's actual fact. And they're like, no, I'm not listening. So that's it really is on all of us for not paying attention. I just don't know. I don't know if we're going to come back.
It is hard because like even myself, like I didn't know how brainwashed school had made me, and really like more it's college, because like I graduated college in 2005, and like colleges and universities have become like way worse since then too. So I know you're even
aware, and I'm aware, and I'm much older than you, and I have discussions with people my age, and we talk about the fact that, oh my God, how did we get out of that? Like when I think back, I loved psychology and sociology, and I took all those courses, and they're some of the worst. They're the most extreme. I used to think Nietzsche was a god, like he's the cool, and it's a little bit embarrassing is that, look, it's important to read, and I can respect the writing, but I thought this guy was awesome.
Everybody has that phase in college. You're just like,
that's fair, but it's also scary. There's a reason we have that phase. I was taught this much about him, not the rest of the truth, right? I didn't learn that until I read the whole book. And it's really creepy. And in college, I did struggle. I had some serious issues with professors, and I dreaded going to certain classes because I felt their hatred toward me, literally.
Wow.
And now I understand why. I didn't then. I just thought they didn't like me. And now I'm like, holy shit, it's because I bucked the system. I didn't like what they were teaching me. I fought against it. I got D's on papers because it wasn't the topic that they liked. And I didn't know that I was part of what we're talking about here. Yeah. I just, thank God I came out the other side and going, man, no, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, the point of college and university is to like really crack open your mind and like fuel your curiosity, like not to then do that and then really point you in one specific direction. Like I had an art history teacher who was like basically told us that like we were garbage people if we didn't read the New York Times every day. And like it's hard to find an art history teacher who's not like completely full of themselves and arrogant, but like, yeah, Mr. Eliasov was over the top. And I just was like, oh yeah, good thing I didn't major in art history because there's like 5 jobs out there if that's what you're studying,
and they're taken,
and they're all taken. Yeah, and now the museums are all shut down.
Yeah.
So I think I always am really interested in seeing where porn and comedy industries overlap, and I feel like you and I deal with the same kinds of people and fans. So you know, it's like, I feel like both, I'll start with like the porn industry, for example. Like you have like the groups that are like for you and against you. And I always like find it interesting to pick apart the reasons why the groups that are against you or against porn are that way. So it's like you have the super feminists like on the left, like they have a conflict, like they're supposedly like pro sex, yet there will be, I find so many of them that are anti-porn because it like serves the patriarchy and it's all for the male gaze. And like, you know, there's, even though there is, you know, plenty of female friendly porn out there, I've met so many of these women that are just, they'll never accept a woman who works in porn. And then you also have like the conservative people who hate you for what you do. And especially it's like I've these particular like, conservative men, and I know because I did a podcast where I was just making jokes about sex, and he like just like went after me, like I was really, I didn't really know so much about this group, but it's like these conservative guys that just, they're like so quick to judge, demean, condescend to sex workers, or, you know, anybody who even makes sexual jokes. Like they're so quick to judge. And I'm like, what's behind that? Like, are they secretly just like really obsessed with it? I know this is like really long-winded way of saying, like, I feel like, you know, how do you handle what seems like almost like attacks or hate from both sides?
It's not easy. It's my cross to bear. And I accept it. I really do. I have days where I'm just like, you know, you just want to close all the window shades and turn on Friends and sip on tequila. I'm very, very, very lucky to have found my soulmate who has, I mean, we are so similar in the things that matter the most that from time to time we can do those things. And we always find our people, both on the conservative side and on the, I call it Southern Democrat. I have lots of friends who are true Southern Democrats, which, man, I love JFK. I've been a Republican my whole life, and I don't even say I'm a Republican. I'm a constitutional conservative.
Ooh.
I love my guns. I love the Constitution. I love sex, rock and roll. That's me. That's who I am. And oddly, you're correct. I get hate from both sides. The feminists love strong women who make a good living, but they hate me. They hate Amy Coney Barrett. Really? What have we done but stayed married, had beautiful, healthy children, and made a hell of an American dream out of our life? And you don't like us.
Yeah.
Because
and also,
we
like,
don't wear rubber shoes or put on makeup? Fuck you. You can't win with them.
It's hypocritical because you and Amy Coney Barrett also like don't need a man to pay for your existence. So it's like in that way, you guys are feminists, and they're not even acknowledging.
But they probably hate me and her too, because honestly, the two of us both both love. I personally, I can't speak for her, but looking at her family, I would say we're both very traditional. My husband wears the pants, man. I don't want that job. I love being the woman. We have very distinct roles. He's my king and I'm his queen. And I don't compete for his job and he doesn't compete for mine. And it is the most beautiful thing. And we gave our children the most beautiful thing to look at. If they follow it, I don't know. But what I can tell you is the liberal women coming after women like she and I, their issue is one with themselves, and two with the traditional concept of man and wife, and with the family. When I'm watching the left go after certain people and their mentality, and even BLM, they hate the nuclear family. They want us all spread apart and no unity, which is hilarious because it goes back to them now. Oh, kumbaya, let's all love one another. But their very core concept, Marxism, communism, shred the human, shred the family, shred the very thing that's made America great, really. And that's just everything. They come at me and I just go, okay, you know what, fine. Then you got the right, who I have 99% of my beliefs in line with them, but they cannot deal with the fact that I am pro-sex and that my husband and I, 26 years later, have an incredible marriage and I'm a porn star. It's more than their brains can handle based on, I guess, traditional teachings. And I don't go that route. And like you, it seems like you take all of this information out there, figure out what lines up with your belief system, and you live it. And it seems like the more you're capable of doing that, the more people can't handle you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It's like, and I find, and this is probably the same for you. Like, you know, sometimes when people troll me, like usually I'll ignore it, but if it's the same person over and over, or it's, you know, for a long period of time, like I'll look at them and I'll be like, oh, I feel like I'm noticing a trend. Like the people who I piss off the most and the people who I enrage the most are people who like I really think hate themselves and like are really lacking self-love. And I think when you're lacking that, you feel very secure in your group identity, because I feel like, and it is part of this whole like, you know, Marxist sort of socialist culture that's trying to grow in this country, but it's like group identity, group, you know, over the individual. You know, it's like, oh, I belong to this, or I'm, you know, these are all my qualifiers. I'm like, you know, let's list off my sexuality and my exact ethnic breakdown before I even tell you about who I am as a person. You know, it's like, that's your identity, not who you are, which really is unfortunate.
I agree with you. And it's, I'm not going to say the path that I chose was easy. I know it was right for me. And if I'm able to positively affect a handful of people to live their best life for them and not on the basis of how others accept you or what works for them. Because here's the deal. The reality is at the very end of our day, however many days we happen to get, and you know it's coming, do you really want to be sitting there thinking, I wonder what my life would have been if I'd lived it for me, or the life that I was supposed to live? Because I know, and I'm sure you know, and even I fall prey to it once in a while, you think, it's nice to be liked. And, you know, maybe if I just do this, or if I don't do that, or if I don't say this, it'll be a little easier. Personally, that was not my path. And I don't antagonize people on purpose. But if you've seen my Twitter, I have never, ever, and never will go on somebody's profile and throw shit. It's just not my nature. We all have a profile for a reason. Yours is you. It's your beliefs. If I like them, cool, I'll follow you because I want to see what you're saying. If I don't follow you, or I just ignore it or whatever. And it fascinates me how I'll post a picture of my absolutely beautiful, adorable dog, right? It just says mood. It says nothing.
Aww.
Everyone knows I love my dog. She's laying there. It says mood. And people go, fuck Trump. And I'll write back, my dog doesn't care.
My dog doesn't vote. Although maybe your dog did, if that's how they won. Yeah.
Like, to live in people's head to where they troll your comments and your photos just to be able to make their, you know, their statement, whether it's political or it's somebody says you're going to hell for what you do. It's just bizarre to me and naive, I know, but I would never, if I don't like your profile or your statements or your photos, I don't bother you. I have more to deal with. And social media, aside from the fact that we know who owns these platforms, it blows my mind that the followers attack people they don't know anything about.
Well, it's easy to, like, you know, and it's, you know, it's more anonymous. It can be totally anonymous. A lot of people don't even put their pictures like in their social media. Sure. So, yeah, I sometimes like
have parents, like, were they taught nothing about social etiquette at all? That's what
there's no consequence. That's why there's no like, you know, I'll see you at recess, you know, then we'll deal with it. There's no like, oh, you know, you say it to somebody's face, you see them at work the next week. You'll never see the person. And I don't know. It's like, do they think they're actually going to change your mind? If so, like saying shitty things and death threats, do they think that's really the way to go about it? Or do they just like, they like to, you know, they'll be like, well, you're up here, right? Like Brandi Love is up here and I'm down here and my life sucks. Well, if I can get up here to shit on you, then that means I'm up here for a brief moment in time. And I think that is what it's more about, is like they're trying to elevate themselves.
I agree with you. And that's the ugly side of human nature. And I just choose not to participate. I've gotten a lot better at blocking people simply because I don't want my real fans to have to look at their crap. And I don't either, if we're being honest. Like, if you don't like me, just don't follow me. And I make it simple on them. I just go ahead and block them and erase them. And that's just kind of what it's come to. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, if there are people who, some people say, oh, like you don't want to have a conversation, like you gotta block people. And I try to block only the people I really have to, because I'm trying to keep my feed light and funny and interesting. So it's like, if it's being clogged up with like these trolls, I'm like, that takes away from the whole thing. It's like,
it does, but also somebody who says, what, you don't want to have a conversation with me, you do know their agenda. They've already stated it. And I really don't. I don't have time for you. Yeah. I know you don't want to have a conversation because I'll produce fact and you come back and go, fuck you, suck a dick. Oh, I thought you wanted to have a conversation. You're going to throw that at me. And quite frankly, by the way, yeah, I already did twice today. So yeah. thanks for releasing me for the actual fun things. Yeah. Really appreciate that.
It really does. It speaks so much more about like the person than it does you.
It does.
Because if they're coming to you on Twitter with insults, it's like they're not in a place of being in the middle. Like their mind isn't, open. They're not coming in wanting to have a conversation. They're just coming in to feel good about themselves by trying to put you down. So
yep.
It's icky. And how do you think
that's a good word.
It's really icky. And it's interesting because I find like so much about you fascinating. You're in an open marriage, and I'm sure you get a lot of heat for that as well. So what would you say to somebody who says, well, there's no way you can have a strong relationship but be open sexually?
I'm saying that's why I've been married happily for 26 years and you haven't. It's pretty simple. I don't throw rocks at what's that saying about glass houses? Yeah. Why my life kind of speaks for itself. I don't owe anybody an explanation. I am 26 years into my marriage and never been happier. And we are up against every odd. We live a lifestyle and in a world that, like you said, and you are right, neither side accepts us. I mean, we write for the Federalist, and we'll have, it's a great, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but it's really,
toot
really
away.
Good piece.
You're here to toot.
It's a good freaking piece. And my fans and people who don't judge based on a title that's been given to me love the piece and can comment very cordially and complimentary. And then you just have this hate from right-wing conservatives who agree with me 100%, but because I wrote it, it's horseshit, or who actually wrote it, or whatever their cruelty is, comes at me. And then you've got people on the left going, you wrote for the Federalist? Ew. And I'm just thinking, wait a minute, you didn't even read it. How can you have an opinion of something? Ugh. So I do, and what I've learned to do is write it, look at it, put it aside, look at it again and go, yep, it's ready. And once it's sent off, publish it or don't. And that's that. I don't spend time on the comments. It's just not worth it. It's not healthy, honestly. So
yeah, it's really just like a long tweet,
Yeah, exactly. And literally, as you get more comfortable in your own skin and you try to find those happy places, it's really important to stay there. I'm so old school. I still use a Franklin planner. When I never ever have my phone on unless I'm expecting or there might be an emergency. It's always on silent, and I check it 2 or 3 times a day because otherwise,
how?
I just do. Because it was making me nuts, and it was making my joy level went down, and the people around me weren't getting my attention. The people I actually really care about were not getting my attention. And one thing I've learned with social media and technology, as it advances, I'm okay with being that old bitch that uses pen and paper. I really am, because at least the people in my presence know that when they're talking to me, I'm listening. And when they need me, I'm there. I'm not doing 14 other things or texting this person and going, and then you go, what did you say? And I go, it makes people feel like shit. And I'm just not in the business of doing that. As you know, I'm in the business of pleasure. Haters can hate, but my real fans know that I do what I do because I love it, because my husband and I love it, and because I actually dig them. I have some of the coolest fans ever that they far outweigh the haters.
What is like the most impressive thing or gesture or I don't know, like, oh, if it's something they bought you or sent you or something they've done, like, that's really blown you away, like, fan-wise, like, if you could think of a couple examples.
I don't want to take up all your time. It's that crazy. It's
Oh,
that
you said
crazy.
so many good people.
Yeah, seriously, a long time ago, I started this thing and I wasn't the first to do it. There's a lot of entertainers that have like, I mean, famous, like A-list type famous that have names for their group. And I've
Oh,
always
yeah.
called my greatest fans my love troopers. I'm obviously pro-military and my last name being Love. I just went, ooh, I like this. This is cool. And there's a fairly large group of them that I know by name. We know birthdays and pets and losses and triumphs. And it's crazy. And OnlyFans has been, it takes heat for being sexualized. If people only knew the connections and pulling people out of dark places and being online when they needed you the most. It's not all sex. Thank God a lot of it is, because whoo, that's the best release. But there's real connections there. And I've had fans, groups of them get together. Here's the best part. My fans have become friends with each other, right? So 5 of them will get together and do something for Chris and I for Christmas. The personalized coffee mugs, because people know I'm a coffee addict.
Me too.
You know, things like that. They've made me awards because I'm like the Susan, what's her name? Susan Lucci of porn. I'm there. I get nominated every year and I don't get the award, which is actually worked out really well. It's okay because my fans are what make it, not the Academy per se. They've sent me awards that they make, creating whatever title they want it to be, whether it's MILF of the Year, Best Ass. This is the shit they do for me. And I'm like, for years I fought that, wanting to be a part of the system. And I'm just not, as you've read my Twitter, I don't fit in anywhere, but I do with my fans and they get me. And once I cared more about that, just having fun with my husband and creating content that they would love, God, did life got better. It just got better.
Yeah. And I'm sure and there's like so many parallels in what you're saying to the comedy industry too. Cause it's like, just like porn, there's like the talent and then there's the industry. There's the gatekeepers. There's the people who say sometimes who gets booked for certain things, who doesn't, who gets late night, who doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Who's good. I mean, late night is like kind of a shithole now anyway. It used to be like, wow. I mean, back in the Letterman days, it was a huge deal to do Letterman at the Tonight Show. Now it's like, it's like, you're just like,
but it is the same thing. You experience the same thing. And I have absolutely zero doubts that you're very aware of the politics at play.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't just mean red and blue. There's a lot of politics at play, and you play certain games or you don't. So you're right. I have a feeling that our industries are probably way more similar than people have any idea.
Yeah.
And there's good, bad, and ugly. And you just have to find that aisle that's good and be willing to stay in it and not engage in the game playing or whatever, unless you're really good at it.
And like before social media, it was always like the talent, the gatekeepers, that was it. And now or maybe this is better, right? Talent and the gatekeepers, and these are the opportunities. Right now with social media, it's kind of like, okay, yes, you can go through the gatekeeper route, or you can go through the fan route. And then like, once you tap into your fans, well, then that gets you to the opportunities, whether it's money, bookings, like anything, so that's been a really great thing about social media. And it's like, yes, you have more access to your fans, and the fans have more access to you, which is great, because at the end of the day, that is kind of what it's about. Like for me, it's like, who's going to pay money to come to my show, see me live? For you, it's like, who's really going to sign up to your OnlyFans? Who's going to buy your content? Because just like you can get comedy online for free, you can get porn online for free, but the people who like love and believe in you and your personality, like those people will support, you personally with dollars. But on the flip side, it's like, you've mentioned this in other interviews, like what you gain and more access to fans and all the good stuff there. There's also the negative side of it, which is, okay, it's like limited your privacy. It's like sometimes you can't stop it from coming in too much.
I gave that up a long time ago. I did. And And I've fully embraced that. And look, I'll be in an airport. I'm sure with you, it's the same thing. Airports are amazing and can be awful. And what I mean by awful is that you have that day where you just look like shit. You're either hungover, you didn't sleep, or you just didn't care enough about yourself to put on makeup and take care of yourself. And that's the day that 5 people recognize you and they're like, can I get a picture? Personally, I would never say no. I mean, it's because of that person that I get to do what I do. And I'm so grateful. And in my mind, I'm taking the picture and I'm like, oh, I just love them. And I'm so grateful for them. And I'm thinking, please don't post it. Please don't post it. But at the same time, if they do, you know what? My fans have seen me do cam soda shows with 104-degree temperature. And people go, why would you do that? You really look like shit. Like you should have just had chicken noodle. And here's why. Because I was raised, when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And I got sick the night before. I didn't have time to cancel. And I show up and I go, guys, this isn't going to be the sexiest show, but I love you guys so much that turn off if this is appalling and stay tuned if you want to chit chat and let's talk my way through this. Because obviously it's not going to be sexy. And you know what? Some of those shows have been more of my successful. I'm not worried about paparazzi outside my door catching me in my jammies. I've put the worst of me out there. That is a freedom that I get to enjoy, is that you ain't got nothing on me. Oh, somebody caught a video of you sucking a dick. Really? There's like 1,000 of those videos.
Yeah.
You're not, there is a serious freedom in that, because I don't live in fear of my sexuality. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people live in that prison. You were talking about it. Specifically right-wing conservatives giving you grief for making a comment about whatever sexually. And you're thinking, you know, in a small piece of me, I'm like, thanks. I'll see you tonight on my OnlyFans.
For real. That's what's like, oh, come on, man. Like, who is this show for? Is it for your wife? Is it for you? Is it for your friends?
And you and I don't know. You and I don't know. And I don't hate on them for it because I don't know their life. I don't walk in their shoes. So I try to keep my mouth shut. And I've been ostracized on really, really good podcasts and radio shows when I was told I was a welcome guest. And then they just.
For real?
Oh, yeah. Like 60-year-old white men, conservatives. And those are, I love these guys, right? And I was told this and it's happened. And shame on me for not being ready. I should never believe what I'm told.
Was it a show you went on, or was it they were just said to you, like, don't ever come on this show? Like,
no, it was a radio show I was invited on. They wanted to quote.
You did the show, and then afterwards they said you can't come back?
No, they did it on there. They did on air. They did to me what people do on Twitter, and basically laughed at my profession and laughed that I wrote for the Federalist, and just really, really abhorrent things. Made them look like an asshole, and it bounced back and hit them in the face. But those are those things that teach you, you know what, when somebody tells you they're friendly to you, yeah, I know better. Because why? Because of what you and I said. The right hates me as much as the left. And then there's those groups that come right through the middle that make you go, it's all okay. I found my people. Yeah. And I'm not opposed to going up against people who don't like me. I just, on my own, I need to be prepared for that, right? Yeah. And that was one of those times where shame on me, but it won't happen again.
So you're on the radio show, like, do you know at what point something they said or did that made you realize, like, oh, they're here to make me look like a gotcha thing rather than
30 seconds in. 30 seconds in. 30 seconds in, yeah. And it wasn't the radio host, it was his quote unquote
like co-host or somebody.
Yeah, it was a guest co-host, and it was a last minute change, and that should have told me everything. But again, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at myself. I should have been prepared. So it's okay. It's okay. It's just communication really is the key to everything, And I think you and I are both in a profession that's attempting to communicate through our forms of artistry. And to me, that's what it is. I could never do what you do. Like, you're freaking funny. I've watched your stuff.
Oh my God.
My stomach, People ask about my six-pack. I'm like, I just watch your comedy. You're hilarious.
Oh my God, thanks. The worst shit of mine is online, like, and it's all probably old, but like the fact that you found even one thing funny, like, is really amazing because a lot
Oh,
of
girl, you're funny. And that takes the talent. Like if I were put up on a stage and they said, say something funny, I would die. I'm so not funny. That's not my talent. Mine is I communicate through different form. To me, it really is that simple. I do love to write. I love music. I play the saxophone.
Me too. What?
The alto?
I played the alto saxophone.
Me too.
No fucking way. You know what's crazy too? I also was a huge Metallica fan, like all throughout high school, college. I also like to go on hikes. I also love island vacations.
Which is your favorite island?
Oh God, I have not
We're always
been
seeking
to
more, I know.
I mean, I loved Hawaii. I loved British Virgin Islands, like St. John's was
St.
really
John. Yes.
I really liked Capri, which is in Italy. But like, I mean, I've only been to like a handful, but there's just something about it. Like that's a vacation to me. It's being on an island. Like other kinds of trips are just trips, you know?
No, I'm with you. There's something about the water, just the water. I mean, my escape when things get really crazy and I can't quite get clarity, I flee to the water. I don't care if it's the Atlantic. I don't care if it's
sink. No,
I don't care if it's, I don't care.
Just fill up a sink, play some beach sounds.
Sit in the tub. It's all good.
Yeah, I do need a bath. Like sometimes a bath, I feel like I'm in the womb again. I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. I've had a tub. I have a beautiful tub. And I've lived in this house for 5 years and I've used it for the first time a week ago. And since that week, I've used it 3 times. If that tells you anything about my level of stress or discomfort.
You got to do Epsom salts. You got to do bath bombs, a little like essential oil. Yep. Some people do swear by like putting a little baking soda in. To, like,
I fill it with tequila and then grab a straw.
Tequila? No,
it works really good for me.
That's great. Or you could really, Brandi, like bottle it and you'll get the bathwater community to buy it and also like the personalized alcohol community.
Yeah, I totally don't judge. I'm down for both. It's totally cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so great. Yeah, I was like watching one of your interviews and you were like, talking about like self-care and you're like, alone time is so good. I feel like alone time, just like, it's like a big reset. You're like, I just like to go on a 2-hour hike. And I'm like, oh, that's so good.
Hiking. Well, for me, the hike is one, the exercise is great, of course, but for me, it's the solitude with nature. Nature is,
you have to touch
it's been
things,
written about for hundreds of years. People have talked about, some people get a therapist, totally cool. I get it. I totally understand and am all for it. My therapist is nature. I feel different when I get back from a hike.
Yeah. You're just like, I don't know, things I feel like I'm wrestling with. And I didn't really even, I wasn't, cause I got stuck in my routine, like pre-COVID stuff. Yeah. Go to work, like a lot of being inside, just commute like an hour and a half every day back and forth. And then like the lockdown hit and I was like, me and my boyfriend, like, we were like lazy for a good part, but then we're like, let's go outside. Let's like go for walks. And then through the spring and summer of being outside almost every day, it does so much and it's so underrated. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like taking all these vitamin D pills. I'm like chronically, vitamin D deficient, but it's
don't stop doing that. Even when you're out in the sun, I'm a huge, huge fan of vitamin D. I probably take 15,000. No, I don't probably. I take at least 15,000 I use a day and have for 4 or 5 years now.
For real? Wow.
Oh, 100%. You're not going to go toxic. Vitamin D is the most natural. Your body uses it for everything and anything it doesn't need, it gets rid of. You're not going to go toxic. So
just like vitamin C, like just like any vitamin, really, you're just going to eat it out.
20,000 I use of that and have for years. And when doctors say, I'm sorry, what? And I go, yeah, and I've done so for 4 years and check out my blood work. It's pretty awesome.
Like I'm healthy as fuck.
And I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling people to do that. I just know it works for me. So yeah, don't stop doing that, whether you're inside or outside. I think vitamin D is probably the greatest gift to the vitamin world.
For sure. It's so crazy. And like, I just feel like there's just so much misinformation out there. Like, not just, well, I've always known there's so much misinformation like out there about like health wise, like health and fitness stuff. But like the COVID stuff really brought it home. I'm like, oh, they're taking advantage of the people who don't know a lot about their own bodies, health, people who lack common sense. It's like if you're wearing a mask all day, like that actually will make you sick. And then they will put you on a respirator, and then you might die if you're like obese and unhealthy. It's like, just made to take advantage of people, and just made I don't know,
Well, how are
mix
you
that in
not
with,
supposed to be confused when Dr.
yeah.
Fauci says wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask? But if you hook up on Tinder, go for it. And
Oh
we're
yeah. Yeah.
like the common sense people are going, what did he just say? Like
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'm all for the go for it part, but you just told us to wear a mask. You expect people to be fucking with a mask on? Don't worry about any other safety measures. But if you're wearing your mask, all good.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
There was so much, and there's even people like when I was going trick-or-treating with like my boyfriend and his son, there was
You
a
guys
woman
went
who,
trick-or-treating?
well, it was like very limited, and people were very weird. Like, I'm in New York, and there was this one lady who she came out of her own house wearing a mask, and then put candy down on the ground, and then like told the
Ew.
children, like, wait till I get back inside. Door shuts, and then the kids could then pick the candy off the ground. I'm like, oh, she's mentally ill. So a lot of people weren't
That's
opening
what she was being for Halloween, was
yeah.
a mentally
I was
ill
like,
person.
love your sheep costume.
You nailed it.
Yeah. People
Love
would
your
either
sheep costume.
love it.
Oh my God. Meh. That
Yeah.
was so good. You're funny.
Thanks.
See what I mean? You're funny.
And then yeah, so people, then there was a few who would open their doors to say they didn't have candy. I'm like, just don't open your door at all.
Thank you. Turn the light off.
I'm like, they're kids. I'm like, they're kids. Like, kids are pretty resilient, but I'm like, oh, it really sucks that
They are.
it has to, like, I don't know, affect, important holidays like Halloween.
I know. I'm with you. So with you and your boyfriend, what is your guys' take on the adult industry? Are you guys fans? Do you watch?
Yeah, I'm for sure a fan. I started doing this podcast in January, and then I went like right to AVN to do my first couple of interviews, which like weren't, now that like all my interviews like this is going to be, like an hour long is what I go for. But at AVN, some girls only have 15 minutes. Some would have like 30 or more. And also I was like really new at just talking to people. So it was a good kind of like first couple like dry runs just on talking to people. But I interviewed so many people. Like I met like Emma Hicks, and I met oh God, this guy, Alex, Seth Gamble, Brittany Amber, Karma RX was another girl who
She's amazing.
was very much no listed for her political beliefs, as was Bella Rose. Like when I was like, looking at your stuff, I immediately thought of the two of them as other examples of,
Yeah.
and that's so crazy to me. It's like, you're not going to have sex with them. You're not going to work with somebody because of their political beliefs, which have nothing to do with the work you're doing. It's crazy.
Well, with that, there were people in my industry who, many I didn't even know, who tried to cancel culture me back in April, May. I don't even know, because I've never not been me. I'm a patriotic person by nature. I love this country. Everything it stands for. It's all I've ever known. And I'm cool with that. When I say all I've ever known, this is where I was born and raised, and I love it. I've traveled the world. I'm very familiar with other cultures. Thank God I'm very lucky for that. And I always want to come back to the United States. It's just, that's me. Those are the ABCs of me. And when I was originally attacked, it was over my patriotic beliefs and my Second Amendment beliefs. And it took me a minute. I'm not going to lie. I'm a huge fan of the adult industry. I've given 16 years of my life to it, and I have zero regrets. And I have a lot of friends through it, and I've created a lot of enemies, not intentionally, just being me. And I'm not going to apologize for that. And some companies are on that no side and cancel culture side. And in 24 hours, I went from loving everything I've ever done and everyone I've ever met in the industry to being called every name in the book, names I don't use, I've never even considered.
Wow.
And it was all because I was practicing my freedom of speech on a platform that I thought was about being an individual. So it was a huge slap in the face, and I had to say no and goodbye to some companies that I've enjoyed and some people in the industry that I've truly
Wow.
enjoyed, and not by my choice, by theirs.
That sucks. That really sucks. That's really unfortunate. And it's
It
like,
did, and it did, and it was, but at the same time, it's amazing what happens on the other side when you stay true to who you are. That's all I'm going to say. And discovering people like Karma and a handful of others, it's not my position to say, those who know us know us. I have more friends through the unfortunate part of April, May, June. I have more friends in the industry, like real friends, people I actually talk to on the phone, than I did in 16 years of working in the industry prior. So was that a 24-hour period of, I mean, I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe what was happening. And for a moment I thought, maybe it's over.
wow.
I wasn't ready for it because I love what I do, but maybe it's over. I had accepted that. And then within another 24 hours, the outpouring of support and you be you and we got you and all these other, this whole other side, I went, oh my God. And that's when I also realized, though, the division of not just our industry, but of the country, you know?
Yeah.
It's real. It's really, really real.
Yeah. And of course you're always going to have about half-ish of the country believing, you know what I mean? Of course everyone's going to have different beliefs, but like the icky, like witch hunty aspect of it, which is very new, which is like very 2019, 2020 thing, which was not like, I was saying to somebody, I was like, I miss the 90s when people were not obsessed with talking about race. Like I felt
Well,
like,
you know what? We also used to celebrate differences. It was something to be celebrated, not smacked down with a baseball bat. Like you could be this way and I could be this way, and we would party together and have the time of our lives and be friends. And now somebody wears a shirt displaying what they are, and you're an instant enemy or an instant friend. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like you. I was an 80s baby. I grew up in a time when shit was just good. Parachute pants and rubber bracelets and rock and roll.
hammer
And,
pan.
you know, it was amazing. And that was though when people could think for themselves, and they did.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And we accepted each other's crazy differences.
Yeah. I think it's wild. Like I really consider myself kind of, maybe I'm more in the middle. At times I'm like, am I libertarian? Like it's weird, but I've had plenty of people tell me that I'm on the right. I'm super conservative. I've heard people tell me I'm alt-right, but it's like, it's so weird. Like I will talk with people on the left, like far left, regular left, whatever. And now the regular left is the far left. But I'll like, you know, I'm always down for a conversation, but I'm never going to like, it's always like, it's exactly what you said. It's like a lot of these folks writing me out of their life, and oh, I'm never talking to her again. I'm not writing anybody out of my life. Like I'm always open. Like I mean, I even had like a pretty decent friend. She was like a porn star as well. I tweeted about making fun of Chrissy Teigen's super public miscarriage, and she's like, I'm sorry, we're done. And I just was like, this is a joke. And like she also does comedy, so it blows me away. But that's the thing, is like, you know what, like she's written me off. Like she could call me tomorrow, I'd be like, we're cool, like it's all good, you know, like we all go through stuff. I think the people that like are writing off other people, it has more to do with them than it really has to do with the people they're writing off. Because it's like, if you can't handle someone having a different opinion or even making a joke, that's something that you need to work through. And it's like, yeah, I'm here for whenever people want to talk. It's just,
You're like, you work on your shit and let me know when you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm with you. It's true. It's true.
It takes a lot to just, I don't know. I just can't imagine like, I'm going to just write you out of my life. And I was seeing too recently, you're kind of on the train of people that are like over Fox News. And I felt I don't know, a little bit like hoodwinked by Fox News, because I was thinking for a while.
We all were. We all were.
They were bought by Disney, but only very recently did I kind of like wake up on them and be like, oh shit, like they're part of it.
That is the perfect word, and I wish I would have thought of that myself. I used a few other choice words, but you are 100% right. They sucked you in and made you believe it was a particular network, and then they went and cut your balls off, and you didn't even get anesthesia. It was very, very painful. And for me, it happened Tuesday night, and it was part of the beginning of the end in here, where I just went, oh my God, what just happened? And of course, once again, good does come of that. If you do your research there, I mean, the Daily Wire, Blaze TV, there are some amazing networks.
Yeah, OAN is good.
But when you think about what we had, I have 850 channels available to me with the my little clicker. And you know what I use now? Like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Now my smart TV is more important than ever, because I'm tuning into I don't even know. I'm such a tech dork.
And then the podcast too. It's like the Tim Pools.
Yes.
Yeah, like the bigger like Twitter personalities, like Mike Cernovich, I feel like is a real, like he's a smart dude, and he really kind of keeps it real. Like he's not really for either side. Like he's just more, I really love it when I find like a personality or like Twitter person or journalist, they're like, I just really want the truth. And if you can hold on to that and not be swayed like to one side or the other, that's pretty cool. It's really respectable.
That's what journalism used to be.
Yeah. I was listening to some old like election commentary from, it might have been like when Reagan was running, and I was like, oh my God, like they're not giving their opinion. They're not like, they're not making it about them. Holy shit. Like news used to really just be news.
Yeah, I'm with you. I miss those days.
And now it's like, right, social media, every journalist has to be a personality, has to have like a gotcha moment so that they can put that on their reel, and then that gets them a promotion. And it's, I mean, everything is always changing, right? That's the only constant, but it's just kind of seeing things as what they really are is sometimes a painful process, and sometimes like, oh God. But yeah, there are good networks. And yeah, if you want to see, Hunter Biden getting a foot job, go to GTV,
Bam, there it is.
Bam, there it is. Have you seen any of that stuff? I guess Hunter's, well, yeah, I saw it. I watched it a couple times. I'm like, woo, he's got quite a piece on him, that Hunter Biden. So I had a friend in porn that was like,
I've seen it. No, maybe you can send me the link later, but
okay.
The thing that sucks about that is, it's again, what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. Innocent family members on the Trump side were put through hell for absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Hunter Biden has done what he's done, whether you like it or not. It's there, help of daddy. And we're just squashing it. Just getting squashed. Nobody needs to know. It's all good. Nothing to see here. Lines of cocaine and whatever the fuck else was going on is nothing to see here. But Trump had Russian prostitutes peeing on him.
Yeah.
What? So this is where I don't understand what happened to common sense, where people just go, yeah, whatever, instead of going, oh, it's true, he's crazy. And then
they're looking for something. They want,
yes.
They're brainwashed. It sucks.
Yeah,
it's like,
it does suck.
And it's been happening over many years. It's like, of course it's easier to just accept the pre-chewed, regurgitated mainstream media news. Of course, that's way easier. Nobody wants to sit and research for hours online. You want to Netflix. You want to chill. You want to masturbate. There's so many other things you'd rather be doing.
I research and masturbate. That's what we do. We pull up our laptops. We find great articles. We talk about them. And the one who's got the juiciest one reads it, and they read it in a sexy voice. And the next thing you know, we're having sex. So you know what? It works out for us. We get smarter and we have orgasms. It's great.
You talked about possibly writing a part 2 to your book. Your book is Getting Wild Sex from Your Conservative Woman, which you did talk about, what do women want to hear, how to make them, go wild on you. How would you take, your main takeaways from your first book and possibly expand on them if you did another one?
It's going to take a lot of work, but it will be so very different because I'm a different woman. I have, my God, when did I write that? 2009, 10, 8? Oh my God. My experience and who I am as a person is so different from then. Is I have no regrets. That I've read that book, and the only regret I have is that I've made grammatical errors, and I'm not literary, I'm not a writer, I'm much more a
That's
public
your editor's
speaker.
fault.
Well, it is, I agree, but I didn't catch it. I obviously got to proof it once it was done, and I'm like, oh, it looks great. You put it out there, and then you read it again, you're like, I wrote the same sentence twice. What was it? Anyway, it was an incredible thing to do, especially as a non-writer. I definitely want to write another book, and it will be from a very different perspective. That's all I'm going to say is I still love that book because it was truly from my heart and from my experience. And it's a very unique experience. Very unique, that book. I read it. I've read it again, probably about 4 years ago. And I went, wow, how did we survive the choices that we made and come out the other side stronger and better? And here we are so many years later, still in the adult industry, still happily married. And we've started this other business in the real estate industry, and the things that that's brought, and the people that we've met and the experiences we've had, and how with all of the fame or pseudo fame and the hate from both sides, and we write for this side and we're very outspoken, blah, 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 how we're still happy and together. Now would not be the time to write that book, because I'm not going to lie, I've had a lot of dark days. I've mourned, and then I'm angry, and then I'm hopeful, all within the same 30 seconds. And it's happening a lot. So from this wine stretching, if you will, I think a really good book is in the making.
There's a lot of change. Right now is like I feel like, I don't know, maybe 6 months, if when the dust settles, when we really figure out what's going on with the election. I mean, like, we know what's going on, but it's like we have to be able to prove it. And
we'll see what they say. Again, like, you and I both know that there's no winner. There's no winner right now. We know that. The majority may not, because they're believing, oh, celebrate, look at us holding hands, it's all great. The media doesn't choose our president, not right now anyway. So when we finally know, yes, I'm with you, then we'll know and we can move on. But what I was trying to say is the stretching of the wineskins, that discomfort, that being in this place of unknown and all these other things. I'm trying to sit back and remember it all. I'm trying to record it and remember the feelings and the other things happening around me. And when the waves calm and we're back to that beautiful bay and that crystal clear water, and I can sit and look at it, that's when I'll write something.
Yeah. I know I have a lot of male listeners, so a lot of them are probably going to be intrigued to read your book, even though it is from 2008 and you have changed a lot since then. What would you tell them? Maybe if they're like, yeah, conservative women are hot, or like, yeah, I am struggling with spicing things up. So like, what would you tell them? Like, what are some things that women do want to hear, or what are some things, they could do to help turn them on, or, inspire?
Well, something that's absolutely never changed, regardless of personal changes, is the key of communication. Breaking down those barriers of what can I say, what can't I say, what are we allowed to talk about, what are we not allowed to talk about. That's never, ever, ever going to change. And honestly, the more couples I talk to, it's still a problem. Oh, I can't say that. Mm-hmm. You can. It's your husband. If you want to tell him, pull your pants on, I'm dying to suck your dick, say it. It's hot. and vice versa, when he comes home and he says, babe, you look absolutely gorgeous, and he runs his hands down your waist and grabs your hips, pull your skirt up. That is the most intimate, hottest thing. Don't be like,
the ball and run. Right.
Yeah. Can I have 10 minutes? I need to take a shower. No, you don't. Like,
what if you do have to take a shower? Like, I do get that part, that when you're feeling like, oh, did I shower today?
That's what baby wipes are for.
True.
Every good girlfriend, if you go in their house, trust me, there's like baby wipes in the house. That's when you go, this bitch is down. They're ready to go. I'm serious. I'm serious, because you just don't know. Life is too short not to take those moments and enjoy them, because Otherwise you just get cluttered. That would be a huge piece of advice. When your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife makes that move, that suggestion, don't wait for them to say the full sentence. Roll with it and enjoy it. It's never a regret. Nobody that has good sex goes, Jesus, I wish we wouldn't have done that. Nobody. You end up going, God, I wasn't in the mood, or I thought I was busy, or I had shit to do, but I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gift to humanity.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like the question you asked before, which I don't even think if I answered. You were like, oh, how do you and your boyfriend feel about like porn stars in the industry? Like, starting in January, like, and then I made, since then, like this whole year, made really good friendships with a lot of porn star girls. And like, I'll watch like my friends' porn, like just to be like, oh, I'm being a supportive friend and I'm curious. But it's like, I know I could, I'm like a soccer mom. No, like, I know I could be watching.
Oh, girl, good move. Yes.
And like, of course my boyfriend, I know he watches porn, but it's like, we don't really make it a thing to watch, it with each other. And I feel like maybe this is a thing that like, I know my like sexual personality when I'm single. I think I'm struggling with my sexual personality of like being in a couple, because it's like, it's weird. And then like, I feel like my single personality, like, I don't know. I know what all my moves are. I know what to do. I feel like I have more power. And then like my coupled sexual personality, I feel like I'm in my head so much. I'm getting mad at shit he should be doing, but he's not doing. And then I know communication is so important, but then I'm like up here going like, he should know what I want. You know what I mean? Why isn't he doing the things like I
That's
really
not a sexual difference thing. That's a female male thing. We assume that with a wink or a look or a push of they should know. They don't, and that's not their fault. They're actually better communicators, in my opinion, because they just want you to say it. They want you to say it. 9 out of 10 men would kill for you to just go, could you just like rub a little softer, or not shove so hard, or oh my God, I love when you go slow and deep. Just say it. You can't, that's a huge mistake on women's part. And I'm not going to speak for all women, but a huge majority, myself included. You cannot assume shit. It's unfair, because what I have found that when you actually speak what you're feeling and you say it in a loving way, I mean, not in a bitchy, pushy way, but in a very like, I seriously, you want to have this orgasm. I so badly want to be this connected to you and feel this thing. Here's what needs to happen. That is the hottest thing in the world. I don't want to sit there going to town for 10 minutes to find out that I'm doing it all wrong. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I could have been making you happy if you would have just said it. It's all about communication. And I'm not sure where in life we learn to not, or where we think it's bad or wrong to, you can't say that. I think it's the hottest thing you can do in a situation is say it. It's all about delivery and intent. Your desire is to be one with him and have the best sex you can have. He can't read your mind, right? He can't. As much as you want him to, he can't.
You know what it is? I sometimes get in my head too, like, well, I was able to figure out what you really like without a lot of conversation. Like, why can't you figure out my shit without, you know what I mean? But that's...
Well, first of all, women are way more complicated. Our bodies are way more complicated. I do boy girl. That's my forte. And I've done a lot of girl, and it's super fun. It's hot, but women are way more complicated. You hand me a dick, I know what to do with it. Within a few seconds, a few whatever
written right on there. Yeah.
I got it. With a chick, oh my God, there are some I'm like, I'm out of tricks. You better tell me something, because I've tried everything and it ain't working. And they'll just go, oh, that's good. No, it's not. So it is.
Right, because we want to be agreeable. And it's like, and I
no,
feel
it's a female flaw.
Yeah.
Honest to God, when it comes to sex, it's a female flaw. Talking can be so hot. You just have to do it. And you end up both winning. You both walk away going,
I know.
Oh my God.
And then I think like, well, what if I really explain myself and then it still doesn't happen? Then I'm really going to feel bad. But then again, that's like all up here.
You can also help.
I know. Well, I like Brandi, like I have this thing. Well, like I've never been able to get myself there like without a machine. I mean,
Okay.
like if I'm on top, like I'll totally get there, but like I've gotten in a rut, and then I'll have times where I'll like give up my like Hitach for a month. I'll be like, I'm really gonna work on it. I'm really gonna get there with my 2 hands, and then I just don't. And then
You
I
get frustrated.
and then I get frustrated. I'm like, I really just want to come. And I'm like, you know, as soon as the month is up. So
Now, do you ever bring a vibrator into the bedroom with the two of you?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
for sure. But I always think there's a little tiny part of me that's like, it's like, I don't know, like it's not like it's giving up, or like I should work harder to not need it, you know?
No, man. I think those are little gifts. There is no right way. There's no right way. There's no one way. There's no right way. If two people have an orgasm, that was the right way.
Yeah, you got there. Yeah. I want to know, Brandi, who of your fans, like, if you could categorize or like, yeah, right, stereotype, like, who do you think are the like best tippers or most frequent like purchasers of your content? Like, is there a certain group demographic?
I got to be honest with you. I studied that for years, and just like you can't fit me in a box or a category, one of the things that I'm absolutely fascinated by and adore is that my fan base it's across the board. 18 to 88, male, female, gay couples, bisexual couples. Because I think what most people know who know is that I'm probably the least judgmental person. We're human, so there's flaw, but I swear to God, when it comes to human sexuality, I embrace them all. I love people who know who they are and know what they like. And I don't have that thing where I can say my demographic is 22 to 26.
Yeah, everyone loves MILFs. Yeah, that's the thing. That's universal.
Well, how lucky. What a time in entertainment when women of a more mature age are celebrated and having a more successful career than the 19-year-old. It's bizarre. And I am eternally grateful to the American Pie movies that created the MILF term, right?
Yeah.
And I got into the industry that was in what? I am so bad with years.
Gosh, yeah, the early aughts. That had to be like right when I was, probably 2000, 2001.
I was going to say late 90s was the first one, but you might be right. It might have been 2000. And I got involved in 2004. And the biggest issue with me getting into the industry at that age, I was I don't know, 29, 30, 31. I don't know. Nobody knew what do we call you? You're not a babe, because that's truly intended for the
you're not a girl.
You're not a grandma. You're not a girl. You're not a hottie. You're not single. It's in a solo site. I'm married. I was very married.
And definitely not any kind of frumpy at all. Definitely not like typical.
There was nowhere to put me.
Pants.
There was nowhere to put me. And they called the site a hot wife site, which we were into the lifestyle and we're open-minded. And to us, it was just all fun. And I'm like, call us whatever the hell you want. We don't know. And then here we are a couple years later into the career that MILF was a thing. And a lot of girls in the industry hate that term. They were highly offended by it.
Really? Why?
Some of them maybe should have been. First of all, it's personal. Maybe they felt I'm too young to be called that. I don't want to be put in that category. All legitimate, right? But for me, I'm like, all right, you guys have a category and I'm totally, I fit it. I am the definition of. I am married. I have children. I mean, all of these things I like legitimately am. I took that word and I hugged it and I hold it tight and I love it. To me, it's the greatest term ever developed, and I'll ride it as long as I can. No pun intended.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think it makes the women who, of course, like you could be a mom at 18, you could be a mom at 14, right? It's like, I think it makes like the women that aren't moms, not, of course you shouldn't be like, that's like, but like, I mean, as soon as you are, biologically ready to be a mom, not that you should be, but I think why it maybe bothers some girls, it makes them go like, oh shit, I don't have kids. Should I have kids? Well,
and some of them are riding out the wave of being a babe. I mean, there's a lot of chicks in the industry in their late 30s that I can't tell I don't know their age. And first, to me, that's young. but I don't judge them, and I understand why they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that porn yet, because once I do, maybe I won't get this other work.
Right.
So it's all quite legitimate. It's just that when I got into the industry, I got in at a time where that pendulum was swinging to, ooh, mature women have a thing. There's something kind of cool about them. They're different. And they're right. We are. And to me, one of the most interesting things has been the fact that the fan base being from this age to this age, and the conversations I get out of it, it's awesome. It's so, I learn more from them than I may be able to share with them. Honestly, it's
you mean like you learn like psychologically what it is about the MILF that's like such a turn on, like what?
Well, just about what different ages are thinking about, what's important to them, what turns them on, what doesn't turn them on, what they like about the MILF, what they or prefer about it. Those things are, I love sociology more than psychology, I'll be honest. The individual is way too complex for me, not my forte. Group studies is super fascinating to me. So I'm not studying my fans, but I do take certain elements and go, oh, that's the 5th time I've seen that. That's the 10th time I've seen that. And it's not only hot reading these things, but it's fascinating. And it helps me understand more how to entertain and fulfill and be a part of their fantasy. And at the same time, it's making my sex life better. I mean, it just doesn't get better.
Wow, that's really cool. Like, what are some things that stand out to you, like that you've learned, like whether it's like what it is about like the MILF that is like such a turn on, or like some of those like sociology related takeaways?
Probably one of the first things is the nurturing aspect. Women, not just, you don't have to have children to have it. I know a lot of single women without children who have a very natural nurturing propensity about them, and it's even a turn on to me. You can't fake it. It's there. You want to care for somebody, and I think it makes people, it puts them at ease. They don't feel judged. They know you actually care about them as a human and their sexuality. That's fun for me because that's very natural. It's not faking it. I do care. When people write me with certain concerns or issues or fears, I want to help them pass that.
Yeah.
Because I understand the importance of our sexuality. So that's very real. And then the other aspect of wanting to be with somebody who knows who they are sexually. There aren't two people going, but somebody not demanding or controlling, but come this way. Let me guide you into where might be great for you, and we'll adjust as we go. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, like being known, being seen, being taken care of. It's like you break it down as like all basic human needs. Yeah.
It is. And unfortunately, some people have bad experiences where they feel judged or hurt, or some of the things people do to each other. And I just think that more mature women are so confident in their sexuality that that's not going to be a concern. That's not going to happen. And I think people feel that.
Yeah. Wow. Such interesting stuff, Brandi. This was great. I feel like I could easily talk to you at like another 3 hours, but
we'll have to have coffee sometime.
We will. Brandi, where can people find you, follow you, support you, check out your work?
Onlybrandi.com. I'm there all the time, and there's all different types of opportunities, from chatting to videos to photo sets to customs. It's all there. Meetbrandi.com is a very intimate, recently released, where I'm always available, and I have very unique, exclusive 4K full-length videos available. And then, of course, my Snap Brandi, which is my premium Snapchat.
You're everywhere. This is so great.
And I'm trying to bring it in. I keep trying, and it keeps expanding.
I was waiting for you to be like, and I'm on TikTok. But
nah, and I think you know why.
Like, China, you're not getting any of this.
We ain't getting none of this shit.
Brandi, this was so great. You're such a delight. Hopefully we can hang out in the real world one day.
We must do this again, but yes, I would love to. I would love to. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.